When you say contrast, that's not...
We mean variety. We also mean wanted and unwanted.
So not a contrast between feeling like you're not to a point yet and then getting to a point and comparing it to being in a bad feeling place. Not that contrast.
Well, yeah, that too. By contrast, we mean anything that has a variance in it. But the contrast that we want you to focus on, or better said, the way we want you to understand contrast, is by the emotional way that it feels. There's variety. Variety is contrast, but you could go to a buffet where there was a variety and you liked every single thing on the buffet. And so it would be variety and it would be contrast, but not the kind of contrast that is really meaty enough to cause you to launch a rocket of desire. But if you went to a buffet and you have a clear idea of what you want to eat and there's nothing on that buffet that even comes close to pleasing you, you're going to launch some rockets of desire that you'd like some better buffets around. And so you can feel contrast within you with every emotional swing. This is why we want you to follow this thought process, that there's variety or contrast. And I know what I don't want. I do not want that. I do not want people to be rude to me on the playground. I do not want people to boss me around. I do not want my employer to disrespect me. I do not want my employer to not understand me. I do not want my employer to not pay me enough. I do not want these things, which means with every bit of that, whether I spoke it out loud or not, I want payment for what I do. I want respect for what I do. I want to be well paid. I want expansion in the workplace. I want to feel good about what I do. I want to have a good time. So all of that contrast causes you, whether you are speaking it openly or not, to know what you want, and you're launching these rockets of desire continually. But the question is, now that you've launched the rocket of desire and your inner being has become a vibrational part of your desire, where do you now stand in relationship with the new evolution that this contrast has caused you to make? And if you're standing still beating the drum of the discord at work and the unfairness at work, then you're not a vibrational match to the new evolved you that workplace has caused you to become. So you can't keep beating the drum of what isn't working when the larger part of you has already become it. Now, if the contrast had not caused you to launch those rockets, if you had not launched rockets, then you could live in that unwanted world. You could accept it rather than saying, I don't want it. You could say, it's okay. And someone would say, well, aren't you bothered by being mistreated? And you might say, no, I'm used to this. So if you're not launching rockets, if the larger part of you hasn't expanded, then you wouldn't feel the negative emotion about holding yourself back. So your emotions are all about your expansion, and then you're holding yourself back. If you never expanded, you would never feel bad about holding yourself back, because there would be no variable for you to feel. If you don't have light and dark, you couldn't see anything through your own eyes or through the lens of your camera. That contrast is essential for your molding into place your ideas and decisions about what you, creator, want to create.
I guess a better way, a way to expand, I understand that. A way to expand would maybe be to ask, what would it take for me to be able to take the next logical step and continue to progress, but at the same time, feeling like I'm progressing?
All right, there are two things. There are two things that would accomplish that. The first is, if you would focus upon the things that you've been asking for that you are achieving, with appreciation, and do it consistently. Focus with appreciation. You would increase your allowance of more of that. Now, stay with us. You're asking a question and we're going to give you an answer that we have not given this clearly before. If you can accept, please do, that everything that you've asked for is already done in your vortex, and that all that's necessary is that you find some way to allow it in your experience. And that every tool that we've ever given any of you in all of the processes that we've offered have been to help you get into that vibrational place where you allow what you're already asking for. So we want you to understand the distinction. We're not giving you anything to cause you to make more happen, because it has already happened. You don't know that. You think it hasn't happened because it's not in your bank account yet. So it still feels future tense to you. So we've got to convince you that it is present tense. It's already happened. And you've got to somehow get yourself in a place where you can receive it. Now we know to most of the world that just sounds like crazy talk. Oh yeah, Abraham, how do I get the money out of the vortex and into the bank? How do I do that? But we really want you to understand that it is already done. And so 100% of what you're doing is increasing your ability to allow yourself to see it, to allow yourself to have it, to allow yourself to experience it in the full physical sense. And so the two ways that you go about it are this. If you feel reasonably good about it, let's say that you desperately need money. We know that's not the case, but let's say you desperately need money. Well, every time you're thinking about money or doing any processes about money, you're working against yourself if you desperately need money. Because the more you think about it, the more you're activating the way you already feel about it, and the greater crevasse you're putting between the money that's trying to get into your experience and the money that you're not letting get in your experience. So doing more things to talk about money, trying harder, setting goals, is counterproductive, because it just causes you to dig in and hold the vibrational place that you've already got going, which is a place, if you don't have the money, obviously you're not letting the money in. Does that make sense? But if you're in a place, as you're describing yourself to be, where the next logical step, where things are just naturally unfolding to you, if you want to hurry it up a little bit, if you want to increase the speed of it, then just focus with more deliberateness about how great it feels when money comes. Beat the drum of how good it feels to be prosperous and how much you like the absence of angst relative to any decision. Talk about the freedom that you have when you have the money to be any place that you want to be, or go anywhere you want to go, or do anything you want to do. Expand your own ability to revel in the exhilaration of this magnificent world and all of the things that it has to offer, and all of the things that you now have access to because you have this money. Goose up your feeling of appreciation about money. And what will happen as you do that is you will not make more happen because it already happened, but you will allow more to happen more quickly through you. Does that make sense to you? Mm-hmm. You will let more in through that crack of lesser resistance. And what's a crack of lesser resistance than a crack of great exhilaration? But if you try to fake the exhilaration when you really don't feel it, then you shoot yourself in the foot and you get no movement. Did you understand that distinction? You're laughing?
Yeah, so...
Because you did understand the distinction?
Yes.
Because it was so rudimentary?
Yes.
Because it was such a simplistic answer?
Between actually feeling good about something and faking feeling good about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And I understand. I have one question about health.
So before you go there,
okay,
you brought this to an important place.
All right.
What is the difference between faking feeling good about it and actually feeling good about it? So we can give you one really big hint.
Okay.
Faking feeling good about it is caring what others think about you while you're faking it. Really feeling good about it, you don't give a rip what they think, you just feel what you feel.
Awesome, thank you. In regards to health, my wife and I are very healthy people, eat healthy, exercise and all that. But she seems to get into these situations where she's always has some kind of health issue going on. It'll come and it'll go, and an eye problem will come and it'll go away, and it seems to come out of nowhere, and then it vanishes completely, and then something will come up.
What's interesting about this is what we were already talking about, is that sometimes you think you're talking about health when you're talking about being worried about not having health. That's that distinction that we were just talking about. This is the subtle mastery of flowing energy, of thinking deliberately. We'll take it off that subject just for a little bit because it will be easier for any of you to hear it. So if the subject is, I would like to have $100,000, what does the idea of having $100,000 do to me emotionally? If it aggravates me, then talking about money is causing me to activate where I am about money. If I activate where I really am about money in relationship to what I really want about money, then I feel that discord. But if I talk about money and I'm not worried about money, then talking about money doesn't bother me at all, and there's no discord. So people will say, should I get health insurance? And over the years we've said, we're talking to you individually, we're not talking to everyone collectively about this, but if you are worried about needing it, you better get it.
Oh, yeah.
And so the thing about talking about health is people say it's better to have preventative medicine. It's better to have preventative diet and preventative exercise. But the big question is, if what you are preventing is really active in your vibration, then you're actually not preventing it through this action, you're actually encouraging it. Because this is a universe of attraction, there's no exclusion. When you say yes to something you want, you call it to you. When you say no to something you don't want, you call it to you. Because there's no yes or no, there's only attention to it which summons it. And so the key is to exercise or eat or whatever you're doing for the exhilaration of it, not to stave off something or not to prevent something. And so what we would do, we would acknowledge, and you said all of the things that we would say, but we would do it with this emphasis. Oh, things come up, but they're always minor, which means my vibration must be in a really good place. And these minor things are just showing me minor bumps in my vibration, and it's no big deal. And we eat because we love the way this fuel feels in our body. And we move because we love the way our body feels when it moves. And our physicality is so delicious. And we marvel at the intricacies of our physical apparatus. And we are thrilled at the trillions of cells that are in good communication with each other. And we strive for positive emotions so that we can keep all those passageways open, so that our body cells can communicate with one another in an efficient way. And life is really good. And just revel in what's good and don't stress about what isn't. We're surprised any of you can find anything to eat. In other words, there's so much opinion about everything that you're doing that almost no one is really relaxed in their physicality. You can't watch television without them telling you that you need this, but it's going to kill you too. Try some of this, and then here's all of these side effects, and they'll still say, oh yeah, give me some of that. I'd really like some of that. I'd like the opportunity to see if I will actually go blind. And so you just have to feel your way to it and revel in what is working. That is the key toward anything. Pay attention to the things that are moving in the direction of what you want, and try to distract yourself from the direction of things that are moving in the direction that you don't want. Here's an easy way to hear it. If you were mentoring someone, like a child, but anyone really, and you hear them complaining about something, withdraw your attention and don't try to offer soothing, and don't get involved and don't take up their battle. Don't add emphasis to whatever it is that they're pushing against. And if you hear them reveling in something or excited about something or exhilarated about something, give them your attention and join them in their joy. And that's exactly the way your inner beings are doing with you. So if you get worried about something, then you pinch yourself off from all this guidance and all these resources, and you actually get in the way of your cell's communication with that non-physical energy too. So the key to everything is happiness, and the key to happiness is focus, and the key to increasing happiness is consistent focus, which allows momentum, and then everything else takes care of itself.
So that health and business are essentially the same formula.
Everything is the same formula. Everything is the same formula. And in every case, you've lived life and you've launched rockets of desire about the subject to which the formula is applied. And in every case, your inner being knows completely what you want and is the non-physical, non-embodiment of it. In every single case. And in every case, once you've launched that rocket, no matter what the subject is, there is a potential vibrational variance between where you still are and what you have evolved to. And everything is about closing that gap. And as you close that gap, you feel greater and greater exhilaration.
Awesome.
Really good conversations. Good time for a segment of refreshment.